Welcome to another episode of Dad Can We Talk. I'm your host, Anthony Ray, and today I am back with episode 37 of Dad Can We Talk, man. We are hitting the ground running in 2021. I know you guys, by the time you guys see this episode, this is one of my rare occasions where I do 2 episodes back to back in consecutive days. So, but I had to do this one, man. I had to make this exception. I just had to bring this dad on, man. I've been really excited to talk with him. He has a YouTube page called Living the Dad Life, right?
Yes, that's correct.
Living the Dad Life, man. And I checked out some of his videos. He has some good content on there, man. So for those that are listening, go and find him on YouTube at Living the Dad Life. But without further ado, man, we're gonna welcome to the show Jordan McCoy. How you doing, man?
I'm doing well. Good morning. Thank you so much for having me on. It's a pleasure to be here.
Yes, sir. And guys, he is out in Seattle, Washington, man. So he is way behind where I am over here in Florida. So we're coming up on 11:30 on our time, but he is up early, man, early. And he has a newborn baby. So if you guys hear some baby noises, just ignore it. He's a dad. You know, we have responsibilities and priorities. So
yeah,
if you hear the baby, just tune the baby out.
We do what we can.
But yeah, man. So my first question I always like to ask everyone on the show is, what was your relationship like with your dad? I want you to talk about that experience.
Oh, man. So my relationship with my dad has been a roller coaster over the years. When I was about 11, him and my mom got divorced and we moved from New York to North Carolina. And kind of like middle school, my life was turned upside down, which a lot of other people go through. I took it a little hard. I started transitioning into the rebellious teenager phase, and didn't get along with him too well and didn't get along with my mother as well. I just kind of blamed everyone. But for about 10 years or so, it was uncomfortable at some times, good at other times around him. But recently, since I had my son, it's been 100% positive, and it's been really nice getting to reconnect with my father while getting to know and connecting with my son at the same time. So I think it's making me a better dad, building that relationship back up. So it's pretty cool. We do some videos together now. We're bonding over food and just kind of finding things to bond over and getting to know each other as adults, which is really cool.
Yeah, man. I seen him on some of your videos, and I was like, man, that's so cool, man. Because like you say, I think it's important. At times, a lot of people do have those rocky relationships with parents. I'm another one that's in the rebuilding phase with my dad. So it's encouraging to see someone else who is going through that same process and making taking the necessary steps. Because I don't think we don't have to regain all of that ground in one day.
Yeah.
And that's one thing that I always tell people, just take small steps, like you say, you bonding over food. Cool. That's something we have in common, man. Let's do that.
Yeah, 100%. It's nice. It's, yeah, like you said, it's not repairable in one day, but it's definitely is repairable most times. And if you just takes that first step and the will to make it happen, and it kind of just goes from there, I guess.
Definitely, man. And see, you're in the beginning of your fatherhood journey. So how old is your son?
How many months? He's 3 months tomorrow.
3 months. Okay, so you're 3 months in, man. How's it been this far in the 3 months?
It's been good, really good. Really hard.
Yeah.
But it's not a challenge that I wasn't gonna take full on and succeed. I see problems or hurdles, and I get ready for them and tackle them the best I can. And we've done our due diligence, research, and raising this kid so far has been hard, but something we can handle. And my wife and I, we're a team approaching it, and we're moving into teething now, and
Oh yeah.
that's 4 month sleep regression. So just last week we were like sleeping 10 hours, and now we're every 2 hours again. So it's like you just take it as it comes, but we're really enjoying being parents for sure.
Oh yeah, man. That is the one thing I do not miss whatsoever, man. That part where you, I talked about a little earlier before we came on, man. That unpredictability, just not
Mhm.
knowing if you're gonna get a full night's sleep. Some nights you might sleep all the way through the night, and then it always seems to be, those nights when you're really tired and you really need to sleep, that the
Yeah.
baby doesn't sleep. You know.
Yeah, when you have an 8 o'clock Zoom meeting, it's yeah.
Yeah, man. So I'm interested, man. So how have, like, in those times when, say, the baby is up 2 o'clock in the morning, 3 o'clock in the morning, what do you do? Like, how do you and your wife balance it? Is it, your night, then her night, or
Mm.
how do you guys deal with that?
We come at it as a team sometimes. If we're traveling, like we go back to North Carolina, we both get up. Like I'll do the diapers, she'll do the feed, or vice versa. Here at home, while we're trying to build our routine, she has starts working at 4 a.m. So we're training him to that schedule. Um,
Mm-hmm.
she takes the first time he gets up after we go to bed, and then I get him the second time, bring him out to the couch, and we kind of just have like a camping sleepover so she can sleep
Yeah.
in the room. So she starts with a nap, ends with sleep, and then it's vice versa with me. It's been working for us so far, but once she goes back to work in a couple weeks, I'll be interested to see what it's like. And I'm cool getting up, honestly. I'm a heavy sleeper, so he's really got to want to get up for me to
Yeah.
wake up, which I think will change once she's not here anymore. I'll become more alert, but um, we're doing it pretty good. We're
Yeah.
both okay getting up.
Yes, sir. So, what was your first thought when you first found out that you were about to be a father?
Um, I was ecstatic. I was
Yeah.
more than excited. We actually going into our history a little bit. We were pregnant last year and lost our child.
Wow.
So that was super hard on us, and just this whole time, that cloud over the experience has affected our mindset, as you can imagine. And
Oh yeah.
but just looking forward to the future, but cautiously optimistic. So it was a unique finding out that I'm going to be a father this round. I was
Wow.
very happy, but it was like I couldn't get my hopes up.
Yeah.
Uh, Not to bring down the vibe or anything, but
Oh yeah.
it's it's it really affects you and stays with you when something like that happens. I mean, it wasn't until maybe like 30 weeks or so when I was like actually looking forward to to him coming, because you
Yeah.
never know.
Yeah.
I, that's something that a lot of people don't know going into their first babies, and just talking about babies in general, is that like pregnancy is not a sure thing,
Yeah.
and it's not all rainbows and flowers like Instagram shows or the movies. It's
Exactly.
there are issues and there are problems that happen. So it's important to be mindful of that, but also like in the moment with your partner, really enjoy the time.
Yeah, man, and I'm glad you talked about that, because I think that's something that a lot of people don't, like you say, we don't talk about it, or we just kind of gloss over it, and like I know a few people that lost children, and man, that's something that my heart always goes out to them, because I have one friend, him and his wife have been trying for like 5 or 6 years, man, and they've
Wow.
lost. I think they've lost a couple, and just always trying to encourage him, letting them know, hey, in due time, it's not too much we can do about it. All you can do is continue to try, and just kind of be there for him, man, to keep him encouraged, because I know it's a hard thing.
Mm.
I couldn't even begin to imagine how that would be. to lose a child. And then I had another friend that him and his wife lost their last one. They already have two sons, two older sons, and they lost one probably about 3 or 4 years ago. And it's just one of those things that, like you say, people really don't talk about that. And, you know, just when it comes to pregnancy, there's so much you have to be ready for, because man, pregnancy was scary for me, man. You know, every time, I don't know, I was just scared. You know, I think, well, the first pregnancy was, I think, really smooth for us, my first daughter. And then the second one when my wife was pregnant with my son, after she had him, he had complications when he came out. He had the cord wrapped around his neck.
Oh, wow.
And so his face was kind of blue, and I was like, man, it was scary, man. And then she lost a lot of blood after the pregnancy, and I was just worried about my wife. After that, I was like, man, I don't know about children, man. It's a little too much, man. But, you know, we ended up having one more, and that one was smooth. You know, she had a few complications during the pregnancy, but yeah, man, pregnancy is no joke. It's no joke.
I think this whole experience, like, if you think you're a man before and you get through a pregnancy and birth experience like this, that makes you a man. I think it really creates some resolve in you. Yeah, we had a similar during the birth complications. He wasn't tolerating the contractions very well. She was in labor for 29 hours.
Wow.
We were doing an induction, but he wasn't tolerating it towards the end, so they took him in for a C-section. Before it became emergent, they were just trying to prevent anything bad from happening, obviously, but he was having late decels, which is like decelerations in the heart rate, and he came out not breathing, so they were just wailing on his back, and with us completely aware and awake in the OR. It was about 30 minutes before my wife even got to like hold him, just because they were working on him pretty hard in the room. But everything turned out. I mean, his leg wasn't perfusing, so his left leg was like pale white. It was a very, very hectic time. So all of that kind of made us a little, I don't know, it messed with our heads. It messed with our heads. And it's my actual video that came out today is on men's mental health when it comes to pregnancy and babies and stuff. And I talk about a really, really tough issue in there that a lot of people also don't want to talk about. And it's,
yeah. Man, that's some super, super, super important stuff, man, because, you know, it's funny you just said that, because I talked about that. I hit on that in the podcast that I just released today. And I think a lot of people don't. I think when people see dads, you know, it's like, dad is Superman, you know, like, or men never hurt, or men never worry. But like, man, there's so many things that we go through, and at times we don't necessarily talk about them, and I think that we should. And that's one of the reasons why I started this podcast when it comes to Dad, Can We Talk? Because I realized, you know, over the years being a father, that I know a lot of dads that are going through so many things, man. And I was doing ministry for years, and so many men that I would talk with on a, you know, when it was just me and him, there would be so many things that he would have on his, you know, mind and on his heart. And I'm like, when were you going to say that? You know, like, you've been holding that in, you know, and I'm like, man, that's not healthy, bro. You know, it's not healthy whatsoever, man. And that's one thing that I'm very conscious about. Like, I'm always talking. Like, my wife knows I like to run my mouth, but I love to just sit down with another man and be able to get things off my chest, because I know it's not healthy. I totally understand it, man. That's why I wanted to create this space for men to be able to talk about these things, because we need those spaces, safe spaces where we can talk and not be judged, because of the things that we're dealing with.
Yeah, I love it. That's a huge thing you're doing. I, yeah, it's really appreciated because I've always had that problem too. I don't share my feelings like I should. I bottle them in.
Yeah.
And like, even for example, in the video, my wife learned something about me that she didn't know, because I feel so much more comfortable talking to an inanimate object than an actual person. So I found I started the channel for similar reasons, just there wasn't much support for pregnancies for dads, and I wanted to make it easier for the next guy coming up behind me. But it turned into like a vice for me. It turned into like a diary of sorts of just talking to the camera, and it's been really healthy for me, I think. Really, like mind dumping my insane thoughts.
Yeah. Man, I wanted to ask you, I seen that, so you guys kind of chronicled the pregnancy. How was that? How was that experience?
What do you mean?
On your page, I think I seen you made a video where it was kind of like you guys were kind of going through the pregnancy. I guess you kind of followed, you made a few videos, I think, about her while she was pregnant.
Okay. Yeah. So I did like a what to expect kind of anatomy scan and whatnot video. I did one on like how to get debt free before the baby arrives. That was a big issue for us. We wanted to do that. But just the pregnancy in general here in Seattle was okay for her. It was hard for me. I wasn't able to join her for a lot of the appointments because of the shutdown, obviously.
Yeah.
And this was like ground zero for COVID for a long time. So the medical community was pretty much like not letting anyone in. Even when the whole thing started, they weren't allowing dads to be present for the birth.
Wow.
So you can imagine how traumatic that would be for the mom. But yeah, we just kind of got through it. I guess with our history, it was really important for me to be there for her and support her. And there was a couple of times where security was about to get called because I wasn't going to leave. And you know how it is, man. You just that instinct comes over, and it's just like you want to protect and make sure that she's okay. And pregnancy during COVID is no joke. And if we ever have another one, I'm looking forward to seeing the differences, because this one was gnarly for sure.
Yeah, man, I didn't even think about that aspect of it. That's I had a cousin that just had a child last year, and she was telling me about the experiences, and I'm like, what? The dad can't come? What kind of crap is that? I was like, I was blown away, man, because it's totally different from the things that she was telling me. I'm like, man, I that stuff was foreign to me.
Yeah.
I was everywhere, all throughout the hospital, man. So that's weird.
Yeah, I think we found out we were pregnant pretty early, like 6 or 7 weeks, and then we confirmed that at 9. So from that 9 week appointment to about 34 weeks, I was in the waiting room.
Wow.
Yeah. So there was a couple videos that came out in between there of like when the wildfires were around. Seattle was like engulfed in this thick smoke, and we were having to do appointments during that, and it's just a wild time.
Yeah, man. I want you to talk about just give the people an idea of what truly led you to starting the living the dad life.
Okay. So we were just watching YouTube, trying to find like the equivalent of a Lamaze class, because those were shut down as well. We couldn't.
Wow.
There was no baby prep, and we were coming across all these mommy channels, sharing what you need in your diaper bag and how to change a diaper and stuff like that. And I kind of like looked at my wife, and halfway jokingly said, "You should start a YouTube channel," And her response was, the market, you can call it the market, is so mommy saturated. there's so many mommy channels on YouTube, and it's hard to get any traction unless you're already like a notable name, you know. So
Mhm.
she jokingly said I should do it, and because there's only like a few really credible dad channels out there,
Mhm.
and she didn't know what she was getting into when she told me to do that. Because when I hear like a challenge or something like that, I completely immerse myself in it. And it's so I came up with this idea. I was like, I kind of came up with like the most generic name ever, I guess, but it wasn't taken already. So I just started thinking of ideas and like what I wanted it to be. I've always liked making videos. I've always had like this creative bug and needed a medium to outlet that, whether it be drawing or music. And um, yeah, so I was like, okay, every obstacle or challenge that I come across raising Henry, um, I'll I'll make a video about it, so the next guy doesn't have to, you know.
Yeah.
I think I would have loved to have had that, like just some get ready for this, and you should do this when this happens, and um, so that's what I've been doing. I guess like anytime I have to look up how to do something, I jot it down and I make a video about it, and then I incorporate that into like a fun vlog style Seattle tour video. I guess I don't know, just different cool shots and whatever. Just let my creativity go. But I think the feedback from it so far um, has been really fulfilling for me. It's helping out a few guys. I talked to a guy yesterday that needed a refresher on how to swaddle, and I did a
Yeah.
swaddle video,
I seen
um,
that one. Yeah.
and so just things like that. Like I'm getting really positive feedback from it, and it seems like it's really helping. And like I said, it's helping me at the same time. You know, it's like kind of like a double meaning for me right now.
Oh yeah, man. That's something that's so needed, man. Because I always thought, maybe there should be like a boot camp or something for dads. You
Yeah,
know, you could
it's a good
because
idea.
it's when you first find out you're having your first child, it's like you literally don't know what to do. Everything is really catered toward the moms to know what to do, and dad is just in the shadows, like, oh, what
Yeah,
what do I do next,
yeah,
man?
yeah.
Yeah, what you're doing is so important, man. And I would tell you, to continue doing that, man, because there will be fathers that are coming up behind you that they need this knowledge, man. Like we need it. We need
For
it.
sure. Thank you.
So
Yeah.
definitely continue with that. I wanted to go into. I want you to talk a little bit about um, what it was like for you going back to work.
Oh,
Yeah.
all right. Yeah, that was so. I work for Boeing here in Seattle, and we're in a union, so we don't get um, paid paternity leave or anything
Yeah.
because it's not in the contract, and it only recently became a law here in Washington. So the next time it will be. But I knew that going into it. I saved up enough to supplement my income, and I wanted to stay home for 2 months. That was like my
Wow.
goal, to help out as much as I can, because I'm a big believer in the dad going back to work really soon has a big play in like postpartum depression with the wife. So having to do everything herself and all. So I wanted to stay home as long as I could. So yes, 2 months later, time to go back to work. Um, it was hard. It was hard for sure. I felt really really guilty about leaving,
Yeah.
and at the same time I felt really really guilty about how much I wanted to leave, if that
Hmm.
makes sense. I and that put me into like a little funk for about a week, and I didn't feel like myself. I had to really figure some stuff out. But I'm a man that needs routine. I need to be productive, and that's my outward love language, is providing. So I need to be out and working and making sure they're okay. But it was hard. It was hard.
Yeah.
It was easy to get back into working and that the various skills and remembering how to do things and stuff. But just my mind was at home, obviously.
Yeah.
And now with the Max flying again, it was super important for me to be present.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was an internal struggle. And for about like 2 weeks, I was not myself. But now I'm getting into our own routine. It's it's good now.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, man. Is definitely something that is not easy, man. Me, I think I got about 3 days off work, man.
Oh my God. Yeah, I can't imagine. I cannot imagine that.
Oh my God, man. I think it was, I think I got 3 days for my first two children. And then like I snuck in about 4 or 5 days for my last. But yeah, it was difficult, man.
Yeah, how was that like on your wife? Have you gotten her perspective?
It was hard, man. It was hard. It was it was hard. Good thing is when I came home, when I would come home, I would, make sure I was in it.
Mhm.
Once I'm home, I'm whatever I gotta do, feed the baby, stay up with the baby at night, whatever I had to do.
Mhm.
And then just being just being a young father at the time, um, I don't think I was really conscious about her health,
Mhm.
so it was like, oh well, I'm out working all day. I come home and I do these certain things, but it was, I was like, I mean, you're home. Like you have the time to do these things, especially when
Yeah.
it came to her having the second, my second child. It was like, man, I'm at work all day. Um, I'm doing this, I'm doing that, I'm running errands, I'm here. Like I need for you to do certain things when you have all day at home. And it took for her to just tell me one day straight up, she was just like, I don't think you understand. You
Yeah.
look at it like I'm home all day, but that's the problem. I'm home all day and
Mhm.
I don't have an actual human, like that could talk back to me all day and I'm just home with the baby. And she's like, mentally that stuff is hard on me. And at first I was like, oh, whatever, you know. But as I've grown, I'm like, yeah, she's right.
Yeah.
And then I had a friend, this guy I know, he actually stayed home. He actually left his job and let his wife work, and he stayed home with their kids for a while. And it
That's
took
awesome.
for him to tell me, yeah, it was like it's nothing like what we thought, man.
It's no joke. That's something I want a lot of your young listeners to know is like from staying home for 2 months and your friend staying home, you know that is a 24-hour job being staying home with the baby. Even
Mm,
though you get to leave and work, you're
yeah,
not the only one working.
yeah, yeah,
And
not at
that's
all.
a huge thing to realize. And if you can realize that and treat your wife accordingly, that's going to make y'all's experience so much easier.
Hmm.
There won't be any resentment on either side. Like you get to leave, I got to be here. It's like all about communication. And if one of the partners feels like that, it needs to be said, because if you catch that early, you'll be all right. But that's something that'll like plant a seed of resentment and could really manifest itself later in the marriage, and it could wreck it for sure, I think.
Yeah, definitely, man. Because we did go through a super 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 rough time. Um, that was what 20. I had my last child 2016. So yeah, that 2016 is 2017. 2017 was really rough, like really 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 rough. That was when my wife just kind of was like, I don't think you understand,
Yeah.
and she broke down to me one day and just told me everything. Just like, I need you. I need you more than what, like, yeah, what you're doing is good. And at the time, I was so, like I say, I was doing ministry. So I was out and about. I was always in the community doing this and doing that. And just like feeling like, okay, I got all of these things going on and I'm working. And still, you know, take care of my children and spend time with them, but I just wasn't conscious to understand that, man, my wife needed more out of me, and there was nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, absolutely nothing wrong.
Yeah, man, it was rough, man. I be hating to even think about it, man. It was just, those years were so rough, man. Like 26, 15, 16, 17. We were homeless for like 5 months in 2017. It was hard, man. It was rough. It was all of that stuff right there. Those years was so rough. And it was all because of I would put it on me. I sucked for one at communication. I was very bad at communicating with my wife and communicating to her how I felt about things. I would hold things in, and I think I contributed to her shutting down because of my actions and how I would be at home. And you know, it's so important, man, you know, for anyone out there listening that has children, especially when you have multiple children and you have one person working, one person not working, man, it is no joke, man. It's a serious thing, man. And for men out there, if you have a wife that's staying home with the children, please, please, please relieve her. Talk with her, communicate with her, and ask her what is it that she needs from you, and whatever it is that she needs, do that, because
So important,
man. But
even just you open it up and talk about it now, you can tell like how much it affected you, and you're a better man for all that. That builds character. It's a rough time, but you got through it, and you got your family through it, so that means a lot too.
Definitely, and that period is what contributed almost to this, you know, the podcast and everything people see me doing now. A lot of people, you know, they're like, oh, I love what you're doing, good man, this and that. But I'm like, man, you have no idea. You have no idea, man. This didn't happen overnight and over a year. Stuff is years in the making, you know, to becoming this person. And I'm still working every day. You know, we all have things that we can work on. And, you know, I know you're just 3 months in, but man, you'll see, you know, it's like those milestones, that 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, year, 2 years, you know, you start to learn more about your child, and you learn more about yourself, you know, and you get better, man. You know, you make those mistakes, and man, sometimes you can be so down on yourself to the point where you feel like, man, you know, I suck at this, man. But you know, it's not the fact that you suck. You don't know. You know, you're learning. You're constantly learning, man. How has it been coming home after work now with the baby there? Like, have you experienced that joy yet? You know, when you walk in the house after a long day of work, and then you got this little beautiful, pretty little baby to hug on and kiss, man. How is that, man, coming home to the baby?
So I come home at 11 o'clock at night, so everyone's asleep. But when I see him for the first time at about 6 a.m., it's a good feeling. He smiles at me now. It's we do our little feed and camp routine out here, and it's really cool. Really cool. He's kind of getting to the age now where I want to say he recognizes me. I don't know. He gets a huge smile when he sees me, and you know, which really makes me feel all warm and fuzzy inside. Of course.
Yeah.
It's great. It's great.
Man, it only gets better, bro.
Yeah. I cannot wait to have a catch with my son outside and just, you know, like really get to know him. Because I mean, even now, you can get to know a 3-month-old, a 2-month-old. They have a personality, and it's just like this journey that you kind of just find yourself staring at them for hours, and just it's really cool.
Are you able to recognize the different cries yet?
Yeah, there's 4 different cries.
Yeah, yeah,
And yeah, I know for sure 2 of them.
yeah,
The other 2 he's got a little accent on, and I haven't been able to pick him up yet. But
yeah,
I know when he needs to burp and when he's hungry for sure.
yeah.
And
Oh yeah,
then the others is just uncomfortable and needs to sleep.
yeah.
But I didn't make it, but there's a good YouTube video out there where they teach you the different um, signals and cues, it's called, and that really helps out. I watched that, and if you can just kind of like settle the room a little bit, settle yourself, and pay attention to what sound he's making, you can save a lot of time by not having to go through the whole list of things that could be wrong with them and just tackle that one. So I
Yeah.
would give that to anybody listening. Some advice is look up those cues.
Oh yeah,
And,
man. Those things right there are lifesavers.
for sure.
Real deal lifesavers, man. You know, and I don't think I learned that until my second child. I think once the second one came, I was like, okay, this again. All right, I understand. You know, need a diaper change. You're hungry. You know, and just knowing that made everything that much easier. You
Mhm.
know, because it could be like nerve wracking when the baby is crying and you don't know how to make them stop. You
Yeah.
know, you're trying this and you're trying that and it's not working. Man, there was times, man, I would panic and I would call my mom. I would call my mom.
Oh man,
And
that's good.
I would call my mom like, I don't know, man. I'm about to take her to the hospital. She's like, the hospital? What's going on? Yeah, man.
That's
Yeah,
funny.
it knowing those cues are definitely some of the most important things for any new fathers out there listening. Please learn those cues, man. You'll save
Mhm.
yourself a lot of panic.
Yeah, it'll help out, but then there's going to be that time where it's all 4 at once, and
Yeah,
it's really overwhelming, and everyone has that tendency to snap eventually. And I uh, encourage everyone to be mindful of how hard their hold, how your grip pressure.
hmm
Um, you know, put the baby down, go walk into another room, take a breather. It helps a lot. There's a couple times where he has this tone that rattles my brain, and you get into that mode, and it's important just to set him down and just go clear your head, come up with a game plan in the other
yeah,
room, and then tackle that. And usually that helps 100% of the time.
yeah,
When you get so worked up, even like when I'm in maintenance and you're trying to make something work, you're trying to fix this thing and you just can't do it, walking away and resetting yourself will help for sure.
definitely.
Almost
Good
always.
tips, man. Good tips. For all the new dads out there listening, take heed. Good tip right there. um, can you give some tips on how to know when your baby is overstimulated or overtired?
Ooh. Yeah, it's uh it's hard. Yeah, it's it's tricky. So babies need routine.
Mm-hmm.
That's a given. And when you throw a bunch of family members into the mix, like say during the holidays, it gets overwhelming for us, even. And you can imagine it's just amplified for the baby because they're all the senses, all the sounds, and their cry will actually change intensity and pitch. So if you know your baby's cry and what it sounds like, it'll sound like another kid when he starts crying. It'll be really high, and that's probably that tone that I'm talking about. That gets the brain. It's something you haven't heard, and it kind of shocks you a little. Um, they they can fall asleep while feeding. Like if even if they're not tired, they kind of just like shut down, I guess. And then at that point, they need to just be put in another room, a quiet room, and let them figure it out. It's like a reset for them as well.
Mm.
Um, those are the 2 major signs that I can think of offhand. And just pay attention to what they're doing. I think if they're kind of looking around all the time, and
Yeah,
you can tell when a baby's overwhelmed. It's an instinct thing. If you don't hear any of those 2 like the cry change or something, just look at him, just pay attention when there's a lot of people around. If he's getting passed around from person to person,
Yeah.
that's a huge cause of it. So if you can, like early on, if you could just kind of minimize the passing around and the like getting in their face and all that, you know, they're still getting used to this life, so it's good to let them just ease into it.
Oh yeah, definitely. Good tips, man. Good tips. Another one, guys. Listen, follow follow these tips. Please do. um, I want to get into how do you balance your time between family and work and everything else?
um it's uh it's hard. So I get up, I spend time with the kid, spend time with my wife, work, make videos, and then gotta find time to sleep. Usually it's the sleep that is sacrificed.
Yeah.
I've learned to function on about 4 or 5 hours, which is even a lot for some people, you know.
Yeah.
um, I feel like I'm balancing it well. There was a period of time in the first month that I hadn't, like, I get like vlog anxiety, where if I don't have it ready by the day, you know, it's like you really got to hurry up and do it. And I kind of broke down a little bit. I was like, I feel really inadequate, and I almost quit the thing because it was like I felt like my real responsibility was suffering.
Yeah.
But I just worked harder and and got it all done. Yeah, it's a fine balance, but it's all about time management. If you can just plan your time, utilize all the time in the day, sacrifice a little sleep if you need to, you'll
Oh
get
yeah.
through. You'll get through it. It's something that can overwhelm you, with work and the baby, and not having anything extra.
Hmm.
But you add those extra things, and you just got to remember they are extra things, and then focus on what is actually important.
Oh yeah. Definitely, man. Definitely. Uh, and I would add to that, you know, just like I like how you say that knowing those things are extra. You know, that was something that I had a hard time with at first.
Mm-hmm.
You know, feeling like I just had to do certain things, but I didn't. You know, and until I got my priorities straight, just knowing that my wife, my children, my home, this is my priority. These are the things that I have to do. Everything else outside of this, even work, you know, I'm not even gonna put work ahead of that stuff. Work has to understand, like, man, I have these children and I have a family. I am committed to this first, and then I'll be committed to this. If I can't be committed to my family and my wife and my children, you shouldn't even want me to be at your job, you know, because I'm not I'm not fit, you know. So just knowing those priorities, man, just some things some things can wait. Some things don't have to be done right then. You know, some things don't have to be done at all,
Yep.
you know.
Yeah. At the end of the day, this, as effective and helpful as it is, like, the channel and your podcast and all that, it's a hobby for us at the end of the
Yeah,
day, and it's an outlet for us. But you're right. And even work comes second to family.
definitely.
It's important
Definitely.
to keep in mind.
Yeah. And that's why even with the podcast, when I first started, I didn't really have a structure on how I wanted to do things. So and that's why I stopped doing I think I had 1 week when I did 3 podcasts in 1 week.
Woo.
And man, my wife was like, when did you decide that you were gonna do this one on Saturday? And I was like, oh, you know, I talked with someone yesterday, and she's like, okay, but you didn't tell me. And I'm like, it just popped up, you know. But and then I was like, you know what? I can't do this anymore. Like, I need to start actually planning ahead, you know. So now when I talk with someone, you know, I'm getting a date. Hey, I got these dates available. Let's
Mhm.
set up this date right here, and boom. And then I let my wife know, okay, I have this at this time, because I don't want that, you know, that 1 week I was like, yeah, I can't, never again. I won't ever do this again. You know, and my wife was right. I should let her know, and
Yeah.
don't just pop up. Hey, I got this thing I'm gonna do tonight.
Hmm. Yeah,
And
for sure.
yeah, we definitely got to be mindful of our spouse's time, and our own
Yeah.
time.
Yeah,
So,
you can't just rely on them to be your full-time live-in babysitter.
yeah, exactly.
There's a couple of times where my wife has mentioned that name, and it makes me think, like, step back and change what you're doing, because yeah, um, I've had a couple moments like that as well.
Yeah.
But if you step back, and actually the quality of your podcast will go up if you do more planning ahead of time, and less like on the spot
Yeah.
freestyle stuff.
Yeah.
So quality over quantity. I've always said so. At the end of
Yeah.
the day, it helps you too. It helps everyone if you
Yeah.
just
And,
plan.
and that's so true, man, because since I started doing that, man, I have so much more. I know I only do one a week. I do one podcast a week. So I know it's usually going to be a Saturday or a Sunday. And so all week I have time to actually plan for this one podcast, and that's it. And then, still have time for school because I'm in school, and then
Nice.
got time for work, go to work, and then I can still spend time with my kids, make time for my wife, and just balance everything. Everything has its time. And I would say I've done pretty well with that in the last 6 months, I would say. But there's still room for improvement and getting better. But yeah, that time balance is something else, man.
Mm-hmm.
But I want to ask you about this. How long have you and your wife been married?
Ooh, we have been married for 4 years this last October,
Okay.
and we've been together for almost 10 years.
Wow.
Yeah, we're we're starting to have like a story. It's pretty cool.
Yeah. Yeah, man. So how's that been so far, man? 10 years in, how's all
Been
of that
good. Been really good. We've had our moments, had our obstacles, um, but now, and especially now, I think we've never been more of a team than we are now, and that's really
been?
important because it manifested when it was needed the most, right?
Yeah.
It's hard to tackle raising a kid alone,
Yeah.
or with like a half-assed parent. So it's
Yeah.
we're we're there, and yeah, we've grown. Our character development story is huge. When we met, we were both working for Delta Airlines in Raleigh, North Carolina, and I walked upstairs. I was on the ramp stacking bags and stuff, and she was the gate agent. And I walked upstairs into the airport, and I saw this like blue-eyed, gorgeous gate agent, and had to go talk to her.
Yeah.
And we started talking and getting together for a little bit. Finally started dating. And, I had a lot of growing up to do, and anybody that listens to this and knows me personally is laughing right now, because
Yeah.
Jessica's the reason I am the man I am today.
Yeah.
I was a little shithead, excuse my language, but
It's all good.
I definitely had some growing up to do. I was still in that rebellious phase that I spoke of earlier.
Yeah.
um yeah. She brought me out of a serious funk, and it was time to grow up anyways. But
Yeah.
um and from then on, just kind of worked on myself every day, worked on our relationship, and um we had the opportunity to kind of like travel the world and see a bunch of different places, which was really cool for our relationship. We both love traveling, and um yeah, she's from San Francisco originally, so I always told her
Okay.
that I was going to get her out west again,
Yeah.
which I did that. But yeah, we're doing great. We enjoy each other's company.
That's good, man. That's always good. I think that having a spouse that you love and enjoy, can spend time with, someone that understands you. I think that makes all the difference in parenting.
Mhm.
I would say, man, just knowing that You know, when you know each other and really care for one another, you know, and it helps when it comes to accountability. You know, there's nothing that my wife can say to me to. There's nothing my wife says to me that I think is with ill intention.
Hmm.
I know everything she says to me is because she loves me. And my wife is a woman that does not mind telling me about myself. She will tell me very quick, and she is
Same.
just straightforward and blunt with it. And it might hurt my feelings. I might get upset, and all of all of that. But at the end of the day, I always look back and say, you know what? She's right. She's right. And I just got to take that and take what she's saying as not as an attack, but as something that I can grow from, man. And that's one of the most important things to be.
Yeah, that's huge for you to be able to like realize that it's not ill intent is huge, because I mean we're both hard-headed, stubborn people, and so that also that creates some tension sometimes. But like you said, she calls me out on my crap all the time.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you know me better than I know me now. Yeah. And yeah, I'd say 99.9% of the time it's accurate. But that doesn't stop me from getting all hot. But at the end of the day, you realize that they love you, you love her, and it's all just building each other up at the end of the day.
Definitely, man. Definitely. For all of y'all out there thinking about getting married, man, it's gonna get real.
It gets real fast.
Yeah, man. I got a couple of more questions, man. I want to ask you this. If you could tell the 18-year-old version of yourself anything, if you could give your 18-year-old self one piece of advice, what would you say to him?
One piece of advice. Oh man.
Yeah.
Just like 20 popped in my head. What was I even doing at 18? Oh, I'd say get out of the tattoo shop, start saving your money, and get your mechanic's license now. I think not even relationship based, just lifestyle based. That would be the first piece of advice I would give him. Because I didn't do it until I was about 27, 26. Yeah. So that extra 8 years of career, would have been pretty sweet. You know, I would have been, who knows where I would have ended up. I like where I'm at now. So, you know, it all kind of worked out. But I would say just take a step back, prepare yourself, and start thinking forward now, because it's really important to be forward thinking, live less in the moment, have a 5 to 10 year plan if you can. So yeah, that would probably be the piece of advice I would give him.
Some good advice right there, man. Start. And that's a lot of us, especially, man, you know, I don't know why, man, we wait so long to just jump out there and do what we know we need to do and want to do. I don't know why we do that.
It's just an instinct thing. You gotta figure it out yourself, I guess.
That's real, man. I got one more, man.
All right.
If there's anything that you could say to a father listening right now, what would you say to him? Just one piece of advice.
Subscribe to Living the Dad Life. No, no. It's just every day that you wake up a expecting dad or already a father, strive to make yourself better. Don't become complacent. Show up is a huge thing. Got it tattooed on my hand. Show up and be better.
Yeah.
It's that's my dad mantra. It's if you can improve yourself every day, you'll be a great dad. Just pay attention to your family, and yeah, you'll build a legacy that you'll be proud of.
Definitely. Good stuff right there, man. That's good stuff right there. Give the folks places where they can find you on social media.
All right. I only have Instagram outside of YouTube. It's
Yeah.
living the dad life _. Some guy beat me
Okay.
to the living the dad life.
Yeah.
And then living the dad life on YouTube. That's all I participate in. I'm pretty
Cool.
active on there, and y'all should check it out for sure. Subscribe, follow.
That sounds good, man. Hey, for all of my listeners out there, man, if y'all are listening to this, go and follow him on YouTube at Living the Dad Life. Find him on Instagram, Living the Dad Life, and don't forget that underscore. So, yeah, man, you guys make sure you go and follow, go and subscribe. You know, stay tuned, man. Subscribe to Dad Can We Talk. We are on all platforms where you get podcasts. We're on YouTube. I got to start posting more YouTube videos, man. This video right here will definitely be on YouTube. I get kind of lazy when it comes to YouTube, but I definitely need to start posting my videos there. But I do have some on there. You can find us on the website at dadcanwetalk.com. All the episodes are streaming there. You can learn a little bit about why I started this there. And Facebook, Dad Can We Talk. Instagram, Dad Can We Talk. We are on all platforms. And I need to get more active on my Twitter also. I do have a Twitter for Dad Can We Talk. But yeah, man, you guys go and subscribe. I got some more episodes coming up, some really good guys coming up, man. So you guys continue to stay tuned, man. We have 2021 is the year of the dad. Yes, we are busting in 21 hard, man. We're not stopping this year, man. So yeah, man. So I got them coming every week this year, man. That's my plan. I am trying to drop one every week. So you guys continue to stay tuned. Subscribe to all of the social media pages. Follow Dad, Living the Dad Life. And that's it, Jordan, man. I appreciate you, man.
I appreciate your time. It was a pleasure talking to you. You're a pretty cool guy.
Oh yeah, man. Appreciate it. Same to you, man. Hey, go and love on that baby.
All right.
Hey, take it easy, my friend.
You too.
All right, Dad, can we talk? We're out.